I'll start out with, I saw a particular news podcast on Grand Rapids being the most depressing city in the United States. Did anybody else hear about that? Audience members can speak up on it too. And I can say I was a little shocked, but I was not surprised. We have people who come here that are not from Grand Rapids, Myrick, for example. And I think he might have a different point of view. And I am going to ask him about that. But people who are usually born here, raised here, why do you think they feel that way? Or do you even agree with it, first of all, of it being the most depressing city in the country? That's a big title for the whole country.
It really is.
Yeah, but I'll start with you, Dr. Forrest. What do you think about that?
I was surprised to hear that. And in terms of the article, one of the things that I was wondering was the sample size. How large was the sample size? Because in psychology, when we do research, we always want to know what the sample size is like. For example, is the sample size 100 people versus 1,000 people? So the larger the sample size and the more diverse the sample size, that makes it more generalizable to the population. So that was my first question. How large was this sample size? Because in terms of being the most depressive city, that's significant. I look at a place like London, England, where I've been raised, and what makes London a very depressive city is because there's not a lot of sunlight, especially in the summer, as well as the winter and the fall. But here, we have ample sunlight, even in the winter. So that kind of makes me wonder about that particular research.
You think we have ample sunlight here in Grand Rapids?
Well, in comparison to other places, I think we certainly do.
Really?
Yes.
But bringing another subject back to around with dealing with the holidays, I saw an article that says people do that, not smoking, but that
Vaping?
the vaping. They said the nicotine in the vaping is addictive and makes people more depressed around the holidays. And I just thought that was odd for them to say, particularly around the holidays. Now, have y'all heard anything about that?
I have not heard a lot about that, so I wouldn't be in a position to comment, but sometimes as people, we do some things that we feel gives us some relief, gives us escape. So that could be what that's all about. But we do know that the holidays are very, very tough time. A lot of people go on with this mask, pretending that they're joyful, they're happy, but in most cases, that's not the case. We know that suicides increase during the holiday season. A lot of people struggle at this particular time of the year for many different reasons. One can be that this time is the anniversary of the death of a loved one.
Yes.
So it reminds them that this person is no longer there. So that decreases their affect in terms of wanting to participate. It's a time for many people where they don't have the financial resources to buy a gift. They see a lot of people running around, buying, making purchases, and they know that that is not a reality for them.
Right.
Another major issue is that there have been family members that have been disconnected, and you want to connect with family members during the holidays, but you know that you can't go home because you will not be welcomed. That door is closed. So many different situations make it very hard for people during this holiday season.
Yeah.
Douglas, can someone be depressed so long that that becomes their normal reality? Like they don't even know they're depressed anymore? Like that's just your normal low now? Like you're just always that?
To your question, definitely there are a lot of people who are constantly depressed. We can diagnose them with what we call dysthymia, which means that that depression lasts more than 2 years. Okay? One of the things that we can do to interrupt depression, and it's very simple, is to get exercise. One of the most prevalent medication that's prescribed is called an SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So when you take that medication, it makes the serotonin levels increase in your brain. But if you go for a good exercise at the gym, your brain is naturally going to produce serotonin. So when you have an encounter at the gym, you're going to feel better. Just like if you go for a brisk walk. So that way you and I can naturally heal ourselves when it comes to depression. Also, getting a very good night's sleep
Yes.
is a recipe
Yes.
to counteract
Mark.
depression.
Huh?
Okay? When people don't sleep, they tend to become depressed, they become moody, they become irritable. So when you get a good night's sleep, you're helping yourself.
Yes.
Okay? Good night's sleep is like medicine. All right? Now, I would like to read a text that someone sent me just last week, and it dovetails into what we're talking about.
Okay.
So let me read it verbatim. Hey, Doc. Was hoping to ask you a man-to-man question. I have been feeling very disconnected from almost everything lately and very insignificant. I feel like I don't matter much in the grand scheme of things. I'm isolating a bit, not really interested in going to church, although I force myself to go. When I'm there, I don't really want to be there. At work, I feel like I'm insignificant part of the team, even though I know I'm not. At times I feel unintelligent, even though it's not true. I'm in a decent place as far as my job, family, and opportunity, but I also feel sick and in a rut. Sometimes the feels inappropriate for what I have available to me. This makes me think I'm just being sensitive and I need to get over it. I've tried and I can't seem to shake these feelings. They are either light or intense, never gone. I am in no way feeling suicidal, but I feel very alone. Was just hoping you could give me a little advice. This is the time of the year for these type of comments. People are feeling depressed, anxious, nervous, full of worry. It's unbelievable.
Wow. Okay.
And just that text. If you think about it, they call you. I know you heard of this. The depressive cognitive triad. And if you listen to what he's saying, basically that triad is like a triangle, and it means I have negative thoughts about myself, I have negative thoughts about others, and I have negative thoughts about my future
Yes.
and my life in general. And so it's kind of like all day this is what's going on.
Yes.
And somebody told me this once, a guy was supervising me, and he said people who are always depressed, he said the reason why they're so depressed is because they think about themselves too much. And I had to think about that, and it made a little sense. I'm sure that's not true for everybody, but if you think about yourself too much, and you think about some of the things you've been through too much and the opportunities you miss, and if you turn into that victim mode, it can depress you as well.